Hi, my name is Sophia Parsons, and the name of my speech is Classical Music Really Modern? Passions, violent or not, must never be expressed to the point of disgust, and must never offend the ear, even in the most horrendous of situations, but must always remain pleasing. In other words, must always remain music. That is a direct quote from Wolfgang Mozart that was written in a letter to his father all the way back in 1781. Now, me personally, I've been addicted to classical music since I've been a child, when I received my first Kindle at the age of 6. On a Kindle, there are a lot of restrictions just because it's a device used to read, but you are able to download some music. I primarily downloaded classical music, and I'm very thankful for that because it truly opened up an entire world that I would have never explored before. You see, classical music is known for its historical roots, complexities, and the ability to follow a traditional framework. The roots of classical music can trace all the way back to the times of the ancient Romans and the Greeks. In that time, they used music primarily in their churches and in their mosques as a praise of worship for whatever god or deity they were worshiping. But as time went on and composers gained their footing more, they started to create more and more compositions. They started to give them names such as a sonata or a concerto. But however, if we jump to today, pop music is more so associated with how it makes the listener feel. From an acoustic version of our most favorite song to a remixed version of a sad song, everything is trying to evoke an emotion in us. But if we look closely, we can see that the different parts of classical music are still relevant for our music that we listen to today. But to understand these things, we have to go back and look at the different pieces and parts of classical music and how they play a role with each other. There are so many complexities in classical music, it's hard to recognize a con brio or an isorhythm to a layman's ear. But a con brio just means with vigor. And isorhythm is just when you hear a rhythm pattern repeating itself. You hear that a lot in the bass line or in a drumming part of an arrangement. There's also different things like a staccato. A staccato just means that the note is played very short and harshly. And when something is marked as dulce, it's to be played very sweetly. We can see that these different parts are even able to be recognized in today's music. But there is one thing in particular that is used almost always to evoke an emotion. Adele, Ed Sheeran, Queen, and all of our favorite artists use this one thing that the classical composers used to evoke an emotion. It's called the crescendo. Now, a crescendo is just when music starts at piano, which just means very quiet, and gets louder and louder over a span of time. The crescendo itself is built to evoke emotional tension, and it does its job very, very well. Have you ever heard a song and just the rise and the fall of the song kind of drags you in? That is the powerful use of a crescendo. The mere existence of it shows us that pop music is not the only one that was trying to evoke an emotion. Classical music has been trying to do that for years. Even movies will use different symphonic arrangements to evoke feelings into its watcher. A director will sit down, look at the scene, and put music with it to direct the watcher's feelings in the way that he wants you to feel during that scene. The Interstellar soundtrack is a perfect example of this. By using elements such as the organ and other symphonic orchestral instruments, he guides us through the feelings of happiness, love, and even the pure feelings of loneliness. Beethoven was most famously known for his use of different rhythmic changes and harmonies to be able to tell the watcher directly how he wanted them to feel while listening to his music. Knowing these different techniques and how they work together, we're able to see how they still play into the world of music today. Many of the world's most famous singers, our favorites, even pay tribute to the greats today. Billy Joel once said, "I have not forgiven myself for not being Beethoven." And even Queen takes on a mock operatic tone in Bohemian Rhapsody. So in conclusion, the next time that you hear your favorite song on the radio, remember that they were created way back when with different building blocks that are still relevant today. Both classical and pop music are meant to make us feel something. And there's not much that we hear today that can't be associated with classical music in the past. So remember, when you hear your favorite song, remember to thank the great classical composers that created the building blocks to make that happen. Thank you.